Hello. Welcome to the Outsiders podcast if you don't want to read the book or if you want an overall summary. So let's begin with the author. The author is S.E. Hinton, and she grew up in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and was born July 22nd, 1948. Her real name is Susan Eloise Hinton, and she chose to go under a pen name because her publisher believed that people might not read her book due to the fact that she was a woman. Now, other books written by her include Rumblefish, Tex, and Taming the Star Runner. She views herself as a character writer and says she can write easily because she only writes if she has something to say. She says she was a tomboy growing up and didn't realize the people she hung out with were greasers. Now, the plot elements involved in the story include the exposition, being the exiting of the movie theater, which introduces us to the characters in the socias, with John Ponyboy portraying them as the antagonist and sets the way for the rising action, which is a drive-in theater. After that, when Pony comes home, he gets slapped by Derry in this large argument about him coming late, which leads to the park that causes the death of Bob, and Pony and Johnny running away. This would inevitably lead to the church burning down and would begin the climax being the rumble, and death of Johnny as well as Dally. Lastly, the following action is the court case and the resolution is Pony running the Outsiders. Setting. The setting takes place in Tulsa, Oklahoma in around 1965. In Tulsa, Oklahoma, the greasers lived on the east side of town while the socials lived on the west side of town. Some important places in there are the abandoned lot where the rumble happened, the drive-in theater where Pony met Cherry, Pony's house where most of the gang seeks refuge, and the park with the fountain where Bob got killed. Another town is Windricksville, which is where Pony and Johnny ran off to after the death of Bob, specifically in the abandoned church which burned down later in the book. Important characters. Important characters in the story include Ponyboy, Johnny, Dally, Derry, Soda Pop, Two-Bit Matthews, Cherry, Randy, and Bob. Ponyboy's importance to the story is being the narrator and the storyteller. Johnny's importance to the story is to be the gang's pet and take responsibility in Windricksville. Dally's role in the story is to be the hood-like greaser who acts like an older brother/parent figure to Johnny. Derry's purpose in the story is to be like a parent figure for Ponyboy and Soda Pop and to be the group leader. Soda Pop's role is to be part of the gang and the brother to Ponyboy. He was also the unwanted middleman in the arguments between Pony and Derry. Two-Bit Matthews is more so a supporting character who is really just the comedian of the group, but doesn't have another major role in the story besides the rumble. Cherry's role in the story is to kind of bridge the gap between socials and greasers. She gave Pony her side of the story and made him realize they weren't so different. Bob's role is to be a symbol. He was a symbol of fear for Johnny because he was the one who beat him badly. He was also a symbol of the problems socials faced, i.e. his parents, and it was also one of the main reasons the Windricksville situation happened. My favorite character. Personally, my favorite character is Dally. He's my favorite character due to him being the most like a greaser. The rest of the gang are just there because they are poor. Dally's a real hood. Gangsta fights regularly, he has a long criminal record, and he spent 3 years on the New York City streets. He's not all bad, though. He covers up for the things the gang did and takes the fall. He also helped Johnny and Ponyboy escape to Windricksville, as well as save Johnny from the collapsing church. Not to mention how useful he is in a rumble. So even though he may be the worst of the group, it doesn't mean he's a good character. Conflict. The main conflict of the story is the feuding between the socials and greasers. The socials are ganging up and jumping the greasers just because they are who they are. This affects the story by having this constant tension between the two. The socials always get away scot-free just because they are rich. This gives them a superiority complex and is the main reason Bob died. Because he faced no consequences, he tried to jump Ponyboy and Johnny and ended up getting stabbed. This mostly gets revealed in the conversations between Ponyboy, Cherry, and Randy. Theme. Although there are many important themes in the story, I find the most important one is don't judge a book by its cover. The way this theme is shown in the book is mostly in the conversation between Ponyboy and Cherry, mostly the ones about sunsets because it was something they could both relate to. Derry is also a good example of this, because although he is labeled a greaser, he's like a soch, and could be if it wasn't for the gang. That stayed in the book. Randy also proves this by exposing the problems socials have, like Bob, for example. He had a problem with his parents being too soft on him, which led to his death. Near the end of the book, Randy even started respecting Ponyboy after the car conversation and getting to know him, by even visiting him and not referring to him as just greaser. Meaningful quotes. In the book, there are some quotes with deep meanings or symbols, so I chose the 3 most important quotes from the book. This first one is from Johnny. It's "Stay gold, Ponyboy, stay gold." The significance of this quote comes from the poem read earlier in the book by Robert Frost. The meaning behind this poem is that innocence and beauty is always fleeting and never stays. So stay gold is a way for Johnny to tell Ponyboy to stay innocent and not become a gangster, like Dally. Another quote in this book is from Cherry. "If I see you in the hall, at school, or something, and don't say hi, well, it's not personal or anything." This shows how even though Sherry likes Ponyboy and doesn't find him annoying, she still wants to maintain her social status because Ponyboy is a greaser. This last quote is from Dally. Johnny, I ain't mad at you, but I just don't want you to get hurt. You don't know what a few months in jail can do to you. Oh, blast it, Johnny. You get hard in jail. This quote from Dally shows how he learned from his past experience that jail does something to you, and because he cares for Johnny, he doesn't want Johnny to end up like him. Figurative language. Some figurative language mentioned in this book was life was one big joke to Two-Bit. This was better used as a metaphor because it really portrayed how Two-Bit acted and really made me understand he was a laid back and didn't take much seriously. Another example is a comparison of Johnny to a puppy that had been kicked too many times. This shows how Johnny was beaten in the past and how he was, quote, weak like a puppy. My recommendation. Personally, I did not find this book very enjoyable, but I would recommend this book to those who want to get invested in the story and see the characters grow. The story has great character development and it really makes you feel like the story is real. This book is like a coming-of-age story and makes you realize things about social caste and people's need to, quote, act like their class. Especially the interactions between Ponyboy and Sherry. So if you love getting invested into a book, this book is perfect for you. So that'll be it for the Outsiders Podcast.